and then session starting prarthana. Now Vande Mataram. Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram, Sujalam Sufalam, Malayaj Sitalam, Tasya Syamalam Mataram, Vande Mataram, Subhrajyotsna Pulakitayamini, Pullakusumita Drumadala Sobhini, Suhasini Sumadhura Bhashini, Sukhadam Varadam Mataram, Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram. Then Vasundhara madam, start your session starting prarthana.
Namaskar. We will begin with 1 minute dhyanam, then 3 times Omkar, followed by the prayer. गणानान्त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपवस्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणान् ब्रह्मणस्वत आनः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसाधनम्। ॐ श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। ॐ प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामवित्र्यवतु। ॐ श्रीमहासरस्वत्यै नमः। गुरुरेव गतिः गुरुमेव भजे गुरुणैव सहास्मि नमो गुरवे। न गुरोः परमं शिशुरस्मि गुरोः मतिरस्ति गुरौ मां पाहि गुरो। ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवम् उपास्महे। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amrutangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Matrudevo Bhava, Pitrudevo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, Atithi Devo Bhava. Om Sahana Vavatu, Sahanau Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahe, Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Dhanyavad Mahoday. Now I am requesting Sumitra madam to take over the class and continue the topic 64 colors. Sumitra madam.
Thank you so much, Madam Savitri Garu. And
Thank
namaste to one and all. And happy to see you all again today, this evening, wonderful evening. And today we will discuss the 64 colors. Though not in depth, because of the time constraint that we have, within 1 hour, it is very difficult to cover all the 64 colors, because for each color, I'm not even able to spare 1 minute of time. You understand that, right? So again, we are going to have only a superficial information about all the 64 colors, which we can proudly say that from the ancient times itself, all these 64 colors do exist in our country, right? Whenever you talk about the development or evolution or scientific growth, or anything that you talk about, India is number one. I mean, initially, India was the pioneering country to introduce all these concepts to the citizens of the great Bharat, right? Because these 64 colors, whenever you come across Ramayana, we understand that Rama learned all these 64 colors. Whenever you talk about Bhagavata Purana, from Guru Sandipani, Lord Krishna has learnt all these 64 colors. When you talk about Buddha, Lord Buddha, we were told that, in the Buddha Jivita Charitra itself, it is written that Buddha has excelled in all these 64 colors. That means you can imagine how old, how ancient are all these colors. Today we only know the names of some of the colors, unfortunately, right? So with that introductory words, I would like to start my PPT in order to, how do I share my screen? There is no option here before. Okay, it's here. Can you all see my screen, sir? Could you all see my screen?
Yes, madam.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yes.
Okay. So today's webinar is on Chatusashti Kalas, right? So in the Indian knowledge systems, we understand that there are 14 Vidyas, and according to some there are 16 Vidyas, for some there are 18 Vidyas, right? So they represent the theoretical sciences and the essential knowledge, including the Vedas, Vedangas, and the subsidiary Vedas. Kalas are 64 in number. They are the traditional arts and practical skills that, according to the text like Sukraniti, facilitated a refined life together. Okay, they are the practical skills, I must say. They represent a holistic approach for the education and the mastery. So in general, we can say that for a fully developed cultural individual should have learned all these things in order to become a perfect individual. These 64 kalas are divided into different heads like performing arts, creative arts, practical arts, and the social and intellectual arts. So as and when we move forward and try to understand each and every kala, we can easily understand under what heading can we really segregate these 64 kalas and specify them under this particular category, which particular category. Now, the basic objective to learn all these 64 kalas is we will know what is a kala, because kala has got several meanings, right? But in understanding the 64 kalas, first one must be acquainted with what is a kala. So we will learn what is a kala, the antiquity of kalas, just now we learnt about it, the concept of kala, and the different types of kalas, the 64 kalas, what several aestheticians have enumerated or enlisted in their treatises. Right. So today I am going to enumerate the 64 kalas from the Vatsayaniyam, that is written by Vatsayana in his Vatsayaniyam, otherwise called as Vatsayana Kama Sutras. Apart from Vatsayana's Kama Sutras, there are several other aestheticians like Rajashekara, including Bharata Muni, and several other people have also contributed to the list of 64 kalas. Yeah, when you look at the total number of the kalas, it remains 64 surprisingly. But out of the 64, I think 54 remained the same. Only 10 were replaced with some other kalas, like, Ashwakala, Gajakala, where the taming of the horses, taming of the elephants. So Gajasastram, like that, some of the kalas were Pakasastram. These things were included by some other Alankarikas, and they replaced these Shastras with some other Shastras. But for today's understanding, I would like to stick to Vatsayana's Kama Sutras. Right. We will understand what is the meaning of a kala. Yesterday, if you remember, when we were talking about the Devadasi dances, I also told you that, there are different layers of meanings for any kind of term that we give. The different layers would include the philosophical meaning, connotational meaning, tattvartha, tatvikartha, gudhartha. Hope you all remember yesterday's class, right? Okay. So whenever we talk about the meaning of any word, first of all, we would look at the general meaning or the functional meaning. And of course, as an academician, and when we try to research into this subject, first we would try to understand the etymological meaning of any word. Since you're all Sanskrit Pandits, you must be knowing much better than me, because you are acquainted with the etymological meaning, the pada, vyutpatti, artha, like all these things, right? So from the Amarakosha, whatever that meaning has been given in the Amarakosha, I just gathered the information. The term kala has got different meanings in different connotations. They include the digit of the moon, the fraction of the time, the rise of the sun, and of course, in general, it is called as art. So when we talk about the fraction of time, the digit of moon, the rise of sun, what does it really indicate? It indicates, or the term kala denotes the time measure. So it is said that 1/16th fraction of time is called as kala. So 1/16th kala, when you talk about the moon from the new moon to the full moon, so we call it a Shodasa Kalalu. Of course, when we talk about the Sri Vidya perspective, the 16 colors are totally different from that of what we are talking today. But the fraction of time, when we talk about the new moon to the full moon, it is called as kala. Even in Lalita Sahasranama, we come across the time measure, kala, kashta, nimeshika, all these things. You are all aware of how the time is measured, isn't it? The 16 leaves of lotus are placed in one place, and one over the other, and if a needle is sent through these leaves, whatever the first leaf, the needle enters through the first leaf, that time is called as kala, that kshana, like that. For each and every measurement, there is a specific name given, and accordingly only even the tala structure is also composed by the musicians. Of course, even the Vedic chantings, Sannipatamu, Kala, Kashta, all these things, you know, they were adopted into the Vedic chanting, into the music system, into the jati pattern of the dancing, and even the tala pramana, even the architecture, the sculptors, iconography, everybody, they talk about the time measurement, space measurement, the distance, everything is according to the measurement, time measurement, right? So hence the kala represents the time measurement. And Kalavati, Kalalapa, Kanta, Kadambari, Priya. So everything that we attribute to Kala is derived from Mother Goddess only. When we talk about the Kala in the form of art or in the sense of art, you know, this is later developed into 64 art forms. Collectively, all Indian Kalas are called as Chatusashti Kala. And you all know Chatusashti means 64 in number. Let us look at the etymological meaning of Kala. Sukham lati iti Kala. That which brings joy is called as Kala. Kala is derived from the root word Kal. Kal means, in the Amarakosha, it is said that Sankhayane Gatau Kshepe Kalyate Sankhayate iti Kala. Now let us try to understand each and every word and how we can really interpret or relate these meanings to the Chatusashti Kalas. Sankhayana means something to be known, something to be understand. Here we can also talk about Sankhya Yoga of Bhagavad Gita, where Bhagavan was teaching Arjuna. That means he has given some kind of knowledge to Arjuna. Hence it is called as Sankhya Yoga. So the term Sankhya means to reveal something, to know something, to communicate something, and all this is connected with our understanding. Now, when we try to compare the Sankhya meaning to Kala, aren't we conveying something? Aren't we revealing something through our art form, whether it is music, dance, or any other art form? We are revealing something. Maybe it is the universal secret or universal energy we are transmitting there, or we are explaining something, we are communicating something, we are bringing awareness among the commoners through our arts, isn't it? So, the very meaning of Sankhya is applied to the art here. Gato means that which is dynamic, ever changing, ever evolving, and it should flow continuously. That's the reason we find there is a lot of change every day. The dynamic kalas, you know, they are ever changing. What we understand, either the Lalita kalas, be it Shilpam or Chitralekanam or dance or music, what we heard in the yesteryears, today everything is being changed. Yesterday when I was playing the YouTube, suddenly some music popped up, Lalita Sangeetam. When I was young, I used to hear to Lalita Sangeetam, and today I hardly find any kind of Lalita Sangeetam. It has become obsolete, isn't it? Hope you all agree with me. So it is a dynamic thing which is ever changing, ever evolving, and meeting the requirements or the taste of the audience, you know. And art has got an intelligent element, an educative element, and communicative element. Shepe means thrown into ecstasy. It provides an aesthetic pleasure to the viewers and to the connoisseurs. So when I say connoisseurs, you all must know that, you know, even the receiver, if the reception is not correct, although the arts are conveying something, if the reception is not proper, then the receptor the receiver may not receive the exact meaning what the artist is portraying, isn't it? If the reception is not good, then whatever that we are conveying is not conveyed properly or is not received properly rather. That means we must have a sahrudaya always to receive the subject that we are transmitting. That's the reason we have Pandita Sabha and Pamara Sabha. In the Pandita Sabha, people are well equipped with all the knowledge, and whatever is said, it is received in a positive sense without criticizing it. Even if they criticize, it is for a positive thing, and, you know, to learn something, to add something new to the subject that they have learnt, or to the field of art, whatever it is. So here the role of connoisseur is also equally important along with the artist. Now, what are the basic characteristics of an art form? Art doesn't diminish by sharing. It allows the connoisseur to forget his self and allows him to unite with the universal energy. This is the beauty of any art form. For that second, we will forget about the world and we forget about the worldly shackles, and we would immerse ourselves into the art, be it an art gallery or a dance form or a film or anything, that which is done with dedication, commitment, and try to convey a message, and that which met with all the requirement, kshepe, gatau, all these things, when it is conveyed through the conventional system of following the codes or the codified rules that were set up by the set of rishis, then it will definitely help the audience to forget about themselves and involve themselves into the art form, thereby connecting with the Almighty. You can say that it is a supreme or almighty, higher consciousness, the God, whatever that you would like to say. But for that minute, he forgets about himself and unites with the universal being or universal energy. Kala means an entertainment, right? Kala means a creative force. Kalayati means he is creating. Kalas reflect the culture and the civilization of a country. After all, today we talk about the monuments that were built by several artists, which stand for our culture, our civilization, isn't it? Today also we talk about Mohenjo-daro and Harappan civilizations, and we immediately talk about the bull symbol, the logo that was created, and the kind of dancer figurine that was found in the Indus Valley civilization, Mohenjo-daro civilization. That means by then itself, the Indian people were well versed with the music, dancing, instrumentation, and Mahishasuramardini cult was derived from, we were able to control the bull. That itself is an art, and brought them under our control, and we started cultivating the farmland, isn't it? So Mahishasuramardini cult, when you look at it from an anthropological point of view, even the women were dare enough to take the Mahisha under her control and brought everything and brought the piece of land under cultivation. So this is another way of interpreting Mahishasuramardini, right? So what are the okay? So we understood the characteristics of the kala. When we talk about the 64 kalas, the Hindu Vedas, 64 kalas are described as essential art forms and techniques that should be mastered by an individual to lead a successful life. That means unless we master, if not all the 64, at least some of them, today we talk about the greatness of women, saying that, woman is like, multitasking lady. She does this effortlessly. She does that. She can manage at home. She can manage at office. She can take care of the home. She can take care of the children, everybody, isn't it? All the managerial skills, all the communication skills, all the individual capabilities that we are talking. So all those things, we are able to do that because from our childhood itself, these things were inculcated, or these things were, taught by our own mothers to become a perfect individual. Without knowing the name of that kala, we were introduced to that particular kala. Whenever we do some puja, we were asked to sing some Mangala Harati, isn't it? That's a Gita Vidya. And we were asked to play the ganta in a very rhythmic pattern. So you are also introduced to a particular musical instrument. Think in that line, those lines, and try to understand whatever that our elders were preaching us. Without knowing the nomenclature of these vidyas, we were introduced to so many things, right? So when we these 64 kalas can be divided into 4 main categories. Kala Jnana, that gives us knowledge. Kala Shastra, that teaches us skillful arts. Kala Rupa, visual arts. And Kala Kriya, ritualistic arts. So as and when we go forward, you can easily understand whichever art gives us the knowledge, and skillful arts like visual arts and everything, we can easily identify them. And all the 64 kalas share the same goal, which is to create harmony between the divine and the humanity. These art forms and techniques are not only used to create beautiful works of art, but also to bring balance, harmony, and peace to the individual. This is the absolute goal, I must say, of any of the kala. With this introductory thing, we are entering into the 64 kalas and we are trying to understand the 64 kalas. To start with, Gita Vidya, the art of singing. In the Samaveda itself, we find the origin of Indian music itself. Of course, when we talk about Samaveda, we also understand that it started with Ekaswara, then Dvisara, then Trisara, Udatta, Anudatta, Swarita Saras, right? Udatta being the upper note, Anudatta being the lower note, and Swarita being the medium note. With the 3 swaras, Uha, with the 3 swaras, they started singing, and then later on it moved on to the Chatuswari, Panchaswari, Shatswari, and then finally Saptaswaras were created in the music. Okay. The songs sung in villages and forests, yesterday also we were referring to the Aranya and Gramya. So that music is called as Uha and Uhya. The Gita Vidya includes composition, tuning, rhythm, rendition of singing, says Yashodhara in his commentary on Vatsayana's Kama Sutra. So the singing does not confine itself only to the singing, but it also includes several other ancillary subjects that are involved with the music. Actually, when we move on to the 12th century, Sarangadeva's treatise, Sangita Ratnakara, he says, Gita Vadyam Traya Sangita Muchyate. Gita Vadya Nritya Sangita Muchyate. So, all these 3 are combined together. You cannot separate music, Vadyam, and dance, because they are collectively done everywhere. Wherever there is a treatise on dance, you find the information on music, and in every music treatise, you find information about the instrumentation and the dance also. That is the beauty of the Indian arts, where we have a blend of so many arts together, creating a holistic approach to the perfect appearance of that particular art form. Okay. When we talk about the today's music, we find Marga, Desi, Janapada, Lalita music, filmy music, and whatnot, pop music, jazz music, and there are so many other musics today according to the whims and fancies of the creators, right? So yesterday also we discussed about the Marga and Desi. Marga is the one, the path created by the rishis who has envisaged the Swarupa of music and created the Saptaswaras, the Swarasthanas, the Murchanas, the Arohana, Avarohana, Varnas, Alankaras, Yati, Prasa. There are so many things that one has to take into consideration while creating the Sangeetam, isn't it? And we have Murti Trayam also from the 17th century, where they have created beautiful music of Karnataka music. And of course, with the influence of Persian music, again, we have Hindustani music and Carnatic music, although the ragas, the swarasthanas, the swaras, everything remained the same. Just like the diverse dance forms that we discussed yesterday, even in music, we have Carnatic music and the Hindustani music. Apart from that, we also have Yakshagana music and Natya Sangeetam. And there are several other music forms that we find today in the 21st century. India. Okay. This is a visual where you have music, dance, instrumental music, everything put together. Okay. And the second one is Vadya Vidya, art of playing musical instrument. So when we talk about the musical instrument, you must understand that the so-called musical instruments were divided into 4 categories based on the probably the material that was used to create that particular instrument. Tatam chaiva avanadhancha ghanam sushirameva, says Bharata in his Natya Shastra. Tatam is nothing but the tantrigata, the string instruments like veena, violin, sitara, all these things fall under tatam, the tantrigata. Avanadham is percussion instrument, mridangam, tabala, dolu, chanda, all these things falls under the percussion instrument. They are called as charmavadya. Avanadha is charmavadya. Ghanam is metallic instruments, the cymbals, bhajana talas, or the natuvangam tala, anything that is made with, or tappetagullu, gungrus, all these things fall under ghana. Sushira is the wind instrument. The best example is flute, shehnai, where with the help of wind you play all these instruments. Of course, here we are talking about the wind, but whereas the other three we were talking about the material that is made up of, right? And this is called as Vadya Vidya. Nritya Vidya and Natya Vidya are the third and the fourth Vidyas, the art of the dancing and art of theatricals. Nritya, yesterday we discussed also about the definition of Nritya and Natya, where Rasabhava Vyanjanadi Yuktam Nritya Mitiriyate, where the emotion and the sentiments were portrayed through dancing, it is called as Nritya, whereas Natya, it depicts the life, or the pains and pleasures of the mankind, or the kings, or or even the gods, or anybody, where there is a story in it, and each and every character is being portrayed by individual characters, and there is a drama along with the dancing in Natya. Okay, this is the difference between Nritya and Natya. Hope you are clear with the Nritya and Natya, right? Alekya Vidya, the art of painting. The concept of Tvashta and the Vishwakarma speaks about the origin arts like paint, or origin arts like a painting, sculpture, architecture from the Vedic literature and some of the epics. The painter or the creator who models the buildings, beautiful sculptures, paintings is called as Tvashta. That means you are creating a blueprint for something, and based on that blueprint, the Tvashta, whoever that makes, taking a cue from all these things, the idea is developed into a beautiful, complete structure. So this particular art is called as Alekya Vidya. That means you are creating a design, and based on the design or the blueprint, the entire art form is developed. For example, I have just given an outline for this, but along with this, this is about the different kinds of alay gopuras that we can see, that Puri Jagannath temple will have this one. Along with this, we have Mukhamantapa, Antarala, Natya Mantapa, Ranga Mantapa, all these things, the entrance of a temple and everything has got a specifications, and that specifications were given in the blueprint form. And based on these techniques and the measurement, it is based on the angulas, as you all know. So based on the angulas provided and everything, the sculptor or the architect would develop the beautiful architecture, or the gopura, or the temple. Right. Aiseshaka Chedya Vidya, art of painting the face and the body with the color. This is also called as a Patra Chedyam. That is taking the Bhurja Patram paste and applying on the body to draw a different patterns like present day tattoos. Of course, it started with the tilaka on forehead. Now we understand that, different types of tilakam is drawn on different people. Like, we find the flowers, snakes, Trishulam, vertical and horizontal, circular, dropping, water drop shape, all these things, we have a beautiful designs where the tilakam was drawn on the forehead, maybe to adorn a bride, maybe to adorn. You must be wondering to look at Kalkata Kali and everyone, the beautiful Lalata Tilaka is displayed. Kasturi Tilakam Lalata Palake, says the famous Kavi Leela Shuka in one of his slokams depicting the Tilakam of Lord Krishna. So here you can see the Lalata Tilaka, how beautifully they have drawn beautiful designs on her forehead, right? When it comes to the dance figurine, you can see how this forehead is designed for Kathakali. Aiseshaka Chedya Vidya. See the design. This represents, again, when we discuss about the Kathakali art form, we can understand this Katti, Pacha, so Erupu, Rakta, all these colors, they depict each and every character, whether it is a Rajasa character or a Satvika character or a Tamasika character. Based on that, the face color changes in the Kathakali art form. So here also you can see how beautifully these dots were drawn on, I think she's a bride. And look at the beautiful Tilakam design. Right? Aiseshika Chedya Vidya. Tandula Kusuma, Balivikara. Tandula, you all know, it is nothing but rice. An art of preparing offerings from the rice and the flowers. Drawing different designs on the floor like present day Muggulu. Right? Like the Kerala Onam festival, the decorations with different colors of flowers design, creating a mandala, etc. Right? When we understand, when we say that mandala, we all know that while doing any kind of puja, we create a mandala and we try to invoke a particular energy, the spiritual energy. It could be an Ashtadikpalaka or one of the Dikpala or Navagrahas or in a Panchaloka Palaka, whoever it is, we create a particular mandala and we invoke that energy and we invite them and we request that particular energy to reside in that particular mandala till we complete our puja. Isn't it? Banakara Mantape, Banakara Mandale. So these are the kind of mantras that we say while inviting a particular energy to be seated in that particular place. So Pushpacharam, Pushpastarana Vidya, art of making or covering of flowers for a bed. This is performed mostly in temples to make the deities sleep as a Visesha Archana. So, whenever we do the Pavalimpu Seva to the Lord, so in the Unjal Seva, we also say it as Unjal Seva. We all will be witnessing how beautifully in Tirupati that Unjala Seva is done to God Venkateshwara, isn't it? So even that Uyala is so beautifully decorated with the jasmine flowers and all the seasonal flowers. And Annamacharya will be singing so beautifully. The songs were sung even today, saying that, oh Lord, please go to sleep. The Pavalimpu Seva. అలరచలమైన ఆత్మనందుండని అలవాటు చేసేనే ఉయ్యాల పలుమారు ఉచ్ఛ్వాస పవనమందుండని భావము తెలిపేనే ఉయ్యాల ఉయ్యాల ఉయ్యాల. So how beautifully Annamacharya has correlated our mind is like an oscillating uyala. Whether to stick with the spirituality or should I go back to my, mundane life. So when we are oscillating between these two, why don't you sleep in that oscillating uyala? Such a beautiful thought, isn't it? And we have also another beautiful song where తొలుత బ్రహ్మాండము తొట్టెగా వించి నాలుగు వేదాలు గొలుసుల మరించి జో 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 అచ్యుతానంద జో జో ముకుంద రావే పరమానంద రామ గోవింద Jo, Jo. Such a beautiful lyrics we have in our culture where we make the Lord to sleep. So, for him to make sleep so comfortably, we are arranging that Pushpastarana Vidya where the bed was made with beautiful seasonal flowers. So, this is the example for Tandula Kusuma Balivikara where the decoration is made with flowers here. Of course, we also make with rice, tandula means. The 9th Vidya among the 64 kalas are Dasana, Vasana, Angaraga. So the art of applying preparation for the cleansing of the teeth, clothes and painting of our body, applying colors, present themselves so attractively, And cloth dyeing is a major art in this, right from drawing the yarn to making the colored cloth. This art includes every single step. So when we talk about the drawing of the yarn and coloring it and weaving it into a beautiful cloth, whether it is a sari or any kind of a thing, we have different kinds of sources to draw the raw material. So the 4 types of yarn include Kauseya, Pita, Rankava, Valkala, and things like that. So Twak is the Nara, the Valkalam. Valkalam is nothing but drawing the Nara from the Twak. Phala, Karpasam, we call it as Karpasam. Taking from the cotton, we draw this Karpasam. And from the insects like silkworms and all, we draw the silk. And the cloths, that is the clothes made from this particular silk is called as Kauseyam. And from the Roma, the hair or the fur from an animal called Rankuiri, the cloth or the covering that's made with is called as Rankavam. And of course, we have Valkalam, Karpasam, Kauseyam, and Rankavam. These are the 4 types of material, the end product I'm talking about. And the raw material, as I was telling you, the Twak, Phala, Krimi, and the Roma are the raw material for preparing these clothes. And of course, Anga means applying colors on the body like lipstick, parani, nail paint, whatnot. So everything comes under the Angaraga. So Dasana is, I told you, cleansing of the teeth and making them so bright and appearing. You can see the silk has been, drawn from the silkworms, and here the person is dyeing the color to the drawn yarn. Manibhumika Karma, the art of making a groundwork of jewels. This means decorating the floor with different jewels like mosaic floor to keep it cool in all seasons and embellish the floor too. So when we talk about Abdul Razak, who has visited the Vijayanagara Empire, he was referring to the kind of palaces that the Vijayanagara dynasty people do have. On the walls itself, on the pillars itself, everything was bejeweled, like, there's so many diamonds and, the 9 kinds of jewels were studded onto the walls and pillars. And even when we talk about the Sundara Kanda, we find the same kind of description about the Manibhumika Karma that was adopted in constructing the Ravana's palace, right? So, Sayya Rachana, the art of covering the bed or preparing the bed, just like we today we talk about the present day housekeeping in the hotels, like, covering with the beautiful mosquito nets, spreading the bed sheets, arranging the aromatic ambience. So fundamentally, keeping the premises very clean, carpets and beds ready to use. That means whenever there is an Atidhi is the one who comes without giving any intimation, right? Natidhi is Atidhi. So always keeping the Sayya Rachana ready for the Atidhis is called as Sayya Rachana. If not for the Atidhis, for kings and queens or the noble people of the city, always whenever they can afford this kind of service, they would always engage people to get the Sayya Rachana ready. But that is an art by itself, not like a normal household things, how we prepare a bed. But it has got a technique, maybe by pulling the sides so beautifully and, arranging the bed into a different ambience kind of a thing and everything. Yeah, Manibhumika Karma, this is one of the mosaic flooring I can talk, but there are no jewels in this. Everything is marble only here. But that's a kind of pattern we can think of the present day Manibhumika Karma, what we see. Udakavadya, the art of playing music on water-filled vessels. You all know Jalatarangini. You must be watching it in Doordarshan also. There were so many programs with the Udakavadya. Arrangement of these vessels in an appropriate order to produce the required sound in proper tune, etc. are taken care, so that, depending upon the filling of the water, 1/4, 3/4 or 1/10, whatever it is, based on the Pingani Patra, the level of the water would give a particular pitch. So they were arranged in a typical pattern in order to produce a beautiful sound system. And whenever you would like to play a song, they would rearrange according to the tune that they would like to sing in, or the pitch that they would like to produce out of the vessels required, or they will add little more water, or they'll take out some of the water, and arrangement of the udaka vessels, the pingani bowls kind of a thing, they would arrange it in a different pattern. Next in the order is Udaka Ghata, art of splashing with the water, and they also make beautiful sounds out of it. Chitra Yoga, art of particularly applying an admixture of colors and in disguise, like, monkey, tiger, etc., entertaining the public with wonderment. Maybe the extreme body movements, swift movements, and the hands and legs, high jumps, leaps, etc., which finds the humanly impossible movements. So when we talk about the Pulivesham, or the Mayura Vesham, the snake dance and everything, they would apply a typical paste on the body. In the disguise, they would enter onto the stage and entertain the people. And also, when we talk about Bhakta Prahlada Yakshagana, we would see the Narasimha Murti entering onto the stage with a huge mask of a lion face, and people would also experience the fears when Narasimha Swami enters onto the stage, right? So this kind of Chitra Yoga is an art where we can bring the originality. Although it is a disguise, it appears close to the natural look. So that kind of an art form, this is, this is Udakavadya. Sometimes they also make with an metallic thing, where they strike the metallic ball with this wooden thing, then that produces a vibration, sound vibration. Udakavadya is a pingani patra filled with water, but this is a metallic thing, not an Udakavadya. And here you can see the tiger dance. Yesterday also, while talking about the Janapada dancing, I told you the hunters would dance their pains and pleasures in hunting and bringing an animal, be it a mahisha or a deer or anything. So this is where they apply body colors on their body in the disguise of a tiger. Here you can also see the tiger face, the mask, everything is applied. You can also see the mask and everything. So this is the Chitra Yoga. The 15th art is Malya Gradana Vikalpa, the art of designing a preparation of wreaths. We can see that Malini from Virata Parva, where Draupadi enacted like a Malini, So she was preparing all the garlands, and, she was decorating flowers into the queen of that Virata, Sudeshna Devi. Isn't it? So this preparation, Bharata in his Natya Shastra so beautifully explained that Vitata is a garland, Malya, Vitata is a bouquet, Malya is a garland, Grandhima is, like a tied together, Pralambita is a foot-length garland, just like the Gajamala of Venkateswara Swami, what we see today, and Vestita. And again, when all the flowers were tied together in a bouquet form, that is another style of, like, Mala and Danda. What is the difference between Mala and Danda? When both the ends are not tied together, it is when they're free, it is called as Mala. When they're tied together, it is called as Danda. Okay. Sekharapida Yojana. Sekharapida Yojana, art of particularly setting the coronet on the head, the turban tying, binding the turbans in a different patterns, and adorning them with jewels, pearls, flowers, and everything. And we see that, Punjabis, they decorate their turban in a different way. When we look at Shivaji Maharaj, his turban is in a different way. When we look at Annamacharya and Krishna Devaraya, their turbans are tied in a different way. Like, so the turban tying itself, Sekharapida Yojana itself is an art. So you can see the Vitata, Grandhima, Mala, Pralambita. Right, Vitata is like a bouquet, and this is a garland, and this is a mala, and this is a Vitata. And you can see Pralambita here, the long hanging garlands. And here you can see different types of turbans. Of course, you are all aware of the different kinds of turbans. For Krishnadevaraya, Namacharya, Tukaram, everybody has got different kinds of hair knots, and according to the hair knots also, we have a beautiful turbans made accordingly. Nepadhya Yoga, the art of particularly dressing in the tiring room and the green room. For dramatic presentation, the artist should be jeweled, and the clothing and the Angarachana should match with the character being portrayed on the stage. This includes Alankara, Angarachana, color combination, and we must also have a knowledge of what are the primary colors, what are the secondary colors, what are the mixed colors, the application of these colors. Like, we all know that if you mix white and red, we get pink color. Similarly, when you add yellow and blue, we get green color. So the primary colors and the secondary colors and multiple colors, when you mix so many colors, you will get a totally different color, the mixed colors. So the art of understanding the combination and the proportion, the percentage of each color, the mixture of these color, and the what would be the output result of the final color. So all these things, Nepathya Yoga, one must be equipped with. And also Nepathya Yoga, we have for Nepathya, if it is a dance, we have 4 kinds of things like Pustamu, Alankaramu, Angarachana, and Sanjeevamu. So Pustamu is decorating the stage with different kinds of settings. Like, if we are having a Shiva and Parvati dance, we would like to have a Kailasa set at the back of the stage. So that in front of that set, if the dancers dance, it appears as if the Shiva and Parvati are dancing in the Kailasa. So the background setup is called as Pustamu. Alankaramu is the ornaments that we wear from top to toe, right from the Papadi Bilda to the Gajjalu and Mettelu, whatever that we wear, the earrings, the nose rings, the necklaces, the long haram, the Vaddanam, the Bhujakirtulu, the Kiritamu, the Nagaramu, the Jada, everything, the bangles, the rings, everything is inclusive in the Alankaram. Okay. Then Angarachana is doing the face makeup, doing the beautiful kajal, the kallu, katika tirchididdadam, okay, the lipstick, the eyebrows, and whatever that designs that we have seen earlier, that also comes under the Angarachana. And Sajjivamu is bringing onto the stage with a life. What are that we are bringing onto the stage? Either the animals, the 4-legged animals, the 2-legged animals and birds, and no-leg animals. No-leg animals are snakes, right? So it could be a cow and a calf if we are presenting Srinivasa Kalyanam onto the stage, because we have the Akash Raju and the shepherd covered scene. So we, according to the scene, we have to bring everything onto the stage. So whatever that we are doing it, if we have to prepare something at the background, people have to work for this. This is also not by itself, where people would be helping the drama artists, the dance artists, and everybody. Right. This is a small clipping, how they do the makeup and all. Okay. Karnapatra Bhanga, the art of decorating the tragus of the ear. The earrings are ornaments made with the different shapes like patra, pushpa, naga, planet, wheel, aquatic creatures, all these things. Now, patra is nothing but a leafy thing, like those are much aware of the Lalita Sahasranama, Lakshmi Sahasranama. You can say that, from which patra Ammavari Karna Kundalal are matched with some of the patras. If you are familiar with, you can share the information. Right? Pushpa. For Sakuntala, we always find her decoration with the floral things, right? Nagabhushanalu are for Nagalokavasa. Planet, we have Surya, Chandra, the Surya and Chandra have a crescent shape of thing and all. That is the planetary thing. Wheel is Chakrakara Kundalam, Chakra Kundalalu. Aquatic are Meena Kundalalu, Makara Kundalalu. Kundalakara is Valayakara, the round things, the hangings. Karnavalaya is covering the entire ear and putting it a thing. So even for men and women, this Karnapatra Bhanga is an interesting thing. Nowadays, Very few of us are having a single diamond. Men, those who are interested to continue with our Sanatana Dharma, they are going for piercing their ears, right? But interestingly, even the men used to have different kinds of earrings. It strikes me like in the Mahabharata, Kurukshetra Yuddha, Bhishma sings a beautiful song according to this one. Kuppinchiygasina Kundalambula Kanti Gagana Bhagam Bella Kappikonaga. He talks about the Kundala Kanti of Krishna, Gagana Bhagam Bella Kappigonaga. So that is the description that we find about the Karnapatra Bhanga art in many of the literature. Similarly, in some of the stotras also we find the beautiful description of the Karnapatra Bhanga. Next in the order is Saugandha Yukti, art of practical application of aromatics, preparation of the scents, perfumes from the flower extracts, certain tree barks like Chandanam, Karpuram, and the king Karpura Vasantarayalu is named after as he was distributing the Karpuram to everyone, those whoever visited his king court, that Karpuram was distributed by him. Hence, he is called as Karpura Vasantarayalu. Now, you can see the Karnavalaya of the Lord here and Amavaravi. You can see two different types of earrings here. Right? Next in the order, Bhushana Yojana, art of applying and setting the ornaments, we already discussed. Alankara, right from top to toe, both men and women wear Siro, Bahu, Vaksha, Kati, Pada, for all these things, Bhushana Yojana, whichever shape that brings beauty to that particular body, accordingly the ornaments were prepared. Different types of ornaments, these are made with lightweight material, tree bark paste and heavyweight metals like copper, brass, silver, gold and 9 types of jewels. So keeping in view the person, these people used to prepare this Bhushana Yojana. And here are some of the jewels that you can see. Aindrajala, art of juggling, the magic show, the various tricks that creates an illusion to the viewers. Kauchamara Vidya, a kind of an art which includes mantra, tantra, yoga, worship, which helps in fulfilling a task or helps to attain the wanted goal. Okay, the best example for Kauchamara Yoga is in Patada Bhairavi. You have that idol, isn't it? Sahasam Chaira Dhimbaka Rakumari Labhistundile ani. So in that Kauchamara Vidya, that mantra, tantra, everything was introduced into the thing. Hastalagava, the art of sleight of the hand, the swift movement and the skillful movement of hands in either designing, finishing, snatching or grabbing, plucking and fixing the things. This is what the Hastalagava is actually meant for, the swift movement and the skillful movement. But unfortunately, we have confined ourselves only to one of the skill. Hastalagava is for snatching only. So, next in the order is Chitra Saka Pupa Bhaksha Vikara Kriya, the art of preparing the varieties of delicious food, like culinary skill. It is nothing but the Pakasastra. And we all know that according to the Bhagavad Gita, the food is divided into 4 types: Bhaksha, Bhojya, Choshya and the Lehya. Okay, Ayurveda provides us the antidote for certain foods. Like, if you eat til, the nuvulu, immediately you should eat the jaggery. Similarly, if you eat peanuts, you should always eat peanuts with the jaggery so that there will not be any digestive issues. So while cooking itself, you must also know the antidote where the extremity of any of the pulses or the ingredients would subside themselves and create a soothing comfort to the stomach. In that way, if you prepare food, it is good for the health. Panaka Rasa Ragasava Yojana. That means in the above thing, we were discussing about the Bhaksha, Bhojya, Choshya and Lehya. Bakshyas are, the chewing things. Bhojyas are, the biting things. Choshya are the licking, the jurrukoni tinadam. And, lehya is the licking thing. So these are the 4 kinds of food that we are talking about. And in the panaka, we have the drinks, different kinds of drinks, adding the condiments, dry fruits and flavors, and making it as a delicious drink. So that itself is an art. Starting from the challa, the majjiga, ganji, kallu, sugarcane juice, fruit juices, milkshakes, madhuparka, many other juices people used to prepare from the olden days itself, which is an art by itself. Again, the same conditions apply, wherein take care of the digestive system, not too cold, not too hot, not too spicy, not bland. Everything should be perfect in their composition. Suchivaya karma is art of needlework and weaving. This includes crochet work, knitting, and preparing some of the Mattaravani with the elephants and everything. Mattavarani, sorry. Mattavarani is a curtain where the elephants were drawn on the curtains placed in either on the stage, that is Rangasthala, or even in the chambers of queen and the king, of course. And this is the Bhakshya, Bhojya, Choshya and Lehya. And this is the Suchivaya karma. Right? Sutra Krida, art of playing with a thread, like a Tolubomalata, puppet show. Veena Damurukavadya, the art of playing on lute and a small drum, string instrument and the percussion instruments. Prahelika is an art of making and solving the riddles. This includes riddles, number puzzles, yaksha prasnalu, logical, critical, subject-based, literature-based, antyakshari, muktapadagrasta. So all this comes under this prahelika, under one heading, that is prahelika. Durvachaka yoga, the art of practicing language difficult to be answered by the others, using a different word to give some same meaning, concealing the original name or the meaning. For example, the beautiful example for this Durvachaka yoga is when the Pandavas were in Aranya, Vidura sends a person along with a cage and a rat in it, saying that whenever a house is put on fire, nothing will happen to the rat which is in a Kalugu. So Dharmaraju takes a hint from that and asks Bhima to dig a tunnel so that they can safeguard themselves if at all there is a fire. Right? So Durvachaka yoga is achieving something by saying something which is different from what is to be conveyed. But yet the communication is perfect. So this is the Sutra Krida. Sutras are the threads. Pustaka Vachana, the art of reciting books, recitation, intonation, in tune, in meter, with the proper pronunciation, punctuation, stressing the syllabus, Udatta, Anudatta Swaras, Padya, Gadya, Champu Kavyas. So all this comes under the Pustaka Vachana, where one has to pay attention on all these things, like, reciting in proper intonation. Just yesterday also we were talking about the Dhvani, isn't it? So I'll give you a small example for Dhvani. So in the court, the victims or the accused were asked to promise on Bhagavad Gita and say that Anta nijame cheptanu, abaddham cheppanu. We must be watching this in many movies also, isn't it? Though we haven't been to any court. So the Dhvani is దేవుని మీద ప్రమాణం చేసి అంతా నిజమే చెప్తాను, అబద్ధం చెప్పను. The total meaning is changed, isn't it? అబద్ధం చెప్పను, అబద్ధం చెప్పను. The same thing, the pronunciation, the dhvani makes all the difference. So a proper recitation, proper intonation, proper tune, proper meter, everything makes all the difference. That's the beauty of a language or the Pustaka Vachana. Right? So Nataka Akhyayika, Darshana, the art of enacting short plays and the anecdotes. Krishna Leelalu, Buddha Charitra, Natyaitamu, Lavakusa, singing the glory of Rama in Ayodhya streets and everything is the best example for the Natyaika. Like, Lavakusa used to sing the Ramayana on the streets of Ayodhya. Then Rama was told about these two people and they were invited to his palace. We all know the story, isn't it? Kavya Samasya Purana, the art of solving enigmatic verses like today's Avadhana Prakriya. First two lines by one poet and another two has to be filled by the appropriate wording without distorting the meaning of the content or the first two lines. This person has to fill in the poem. That is called as Kavya Samasya Purana. Pattika Vetra Bana Vikalpa, the art of designing preparation of shield, boxes and arrows, mundane life utility carriers like baskets, bowls and the cane, with the cane and other plant-based fiber is called as Pattika Vetra Bana Vikalpa. That means we have so many bags. Today we have all the metallic things, but earlier we used to have, with the cane and the other tree-based fiber and plant-based fiber only to prepare all these things. Tarku Karma. Tarku Karma is art of spinning by the spindle, chiseling, polishing and preparing a beautiful ornaments, sculptures with the metals is called as Tarku Karma. 36th one is Takshana, the art of carpentry, preparation of chariots, doors, furniture, sculptures, and the beautiful salabanjikas, the carvings, wooden cutlery, the suksuvas, what we make use of in yajna and yaga. It is the art of preparing all these things called as Takshana. Vastu Vidya, you all know about the Vastu Vidya, the architectural engineering construction of any building which includes from the soil test to the purification of the ground, drawing the layout, pillar construction based on the size and shape of the building, construction material, whether it is sunnam, the chuna or the mud, making of the bricks, the dimensions, directions, ventilation, airflow, protection from the environment, wild animals, construction of the restrooms, everything includes taking care of everything comes under the Vastu Vidya. And here you can see the Takshana Vidya, carpentry, the architecture, the beautiful things and all. Since we have very less time, I'm running without giving any details. I'm just reading it so that I can save some time. If I start talking on my own, that goes from one place to another and I need 2 hours minimum. That's the reason I'm reading the notes from the slides. Rupya Ratna Pariksha. This is the art of testing the silver jewels. The 9 types of jewels. In Kautilya Shraddha Shastra, we have a separate chapter called Ratna Pariksha, where exactly we can do the Ratna, the quality, the cut and the quality of the each and every diamond. Based on that quality, the carat, transparent and everything, it is measured in terms of money and it was bought from the merchants. Dhatuvada, the art of metallurgy and also identifying the places of availability of these metals. In Rupya Ratna Pariksha also, it is said in, according to some other person who did this research, he says by walking on particular land, he would say that the mines are there for each and every jewelry. He would find out the mines, I believe. Similarly, Dhatuvada, the availability of these metals are found in a particular place. He would walk there, he would test that sand or mud available in that particular place, and he would say that manganese will be available here or iron ore will be available here in that particular area by testing the mud from that particular area. Maniraga Jnana, art of tingling jewels and identifying the available areas. Sri Lanka, we all know that it is famous for blue sapphires, and Africa for the diamonds and all. Like that, identifying that particular area is called as Maniraga Jnana. Akara Jnana is art of mineralogy, and Vriksha Ayurveda Yoga is again said in 2 types, that preparing the medicines from the vrikshas and taking the leaves and other extracts from the tree and preparing medicines for the human beings is one type of Vriksha Ayurveda Yoga. And the second one is nursery, like, how to grow a tiny plant into a big tree, taking care of it by all means, that is also called as Vriksha Ayurveda Yoga. Mesha Kukkuta Lavaka Yuddha Vidhi. To make it very simple, Kodi Pandalu ante, you will understand what is Meshaka Kukkuta Lavaka Yuddha Vidhi. The art of knowing the mode of fighting of lambs, cocks and lavaka birds. Training of these animals to fight along with is given by some of the people, and the training skill is called as Mesha Kukkuta Lavaka Yuddha Vidhi. And we all know that, in Palnat Yuddham, Nayakaral Nagama and everyone, they started only with the Kodi Pandalu, not losing many army. They went for this also. Sukasarika Pralapana. That means art of maintaining or knowing conversation between a male and a female parrots and other birds, and training them to speak or repeat what the trainer says. So this is another type of training where we make the birds and animals speak along with, mostly birds and not animals. And this is Mesha, this is Kukkuta and Lavaka, birds fighting, and the training given to that one. Okay. Utsadhana art. The art of healing or cleaning a person with the perfume is called as Utsadhana. Kesamarjana Kaushala, art of massaging or combing the hair. Talamardana Chedam, Keshamardana is called as Keshamarjana Kaushala. Akshara Mushtika Kathana, the art of talking with the fingers. It's like also narrating a story using the given alphabet. Okay, so it's like more of like a Braille, today's Braille. Feeling it and talking is one thing. And in Buddha Charitra, in one of the Jataka tales, we understand that Buddha, he has been to Pelichuplu one time. So he was called as Bodhisattva in his prior births. And when Bodhisattva asked this girl a question with the hand gestures, the Jataka tale says that she also replied with her hand gestures. Having understood and pleased with her answer, Bodhisattva married that girl. This is what one of the Jataka tale says. That means the art of, Akshara Mushtika Kathana is prevailed during the Buddhistic period itself. And yesterday we discussed at large about the hastas and the mudras, the gestural language, the usage, the mode of communication, everything, isn't it? Dharana Matrika is next in the order. The art of use of emulates, Eka Sandagrahi, Dvisandagrahi, etc., memorizing the narration instantly. Okay, it's like instant memorizing and instantly writing the poetry, recording something, Dharana Matrika. The best example for this is when sage Vedavyasa was narrating the Mahabharata story without even lifting down the Ghantam. Lord Ganesha wrote the Mahabharata, says one of the legends, isn't it? So Dharana Matrika is retention and writing down. So Dharana is again the oral tradition that we have today. We should feel proud about the Dharana Matrika, which we were introduced from the Vedic times itself, because everything we learned through recitation. That's the reason today, despite the several invasions, we didn't lose much of our treasure, the knowledge, because it is orally transmitted. Had it been written, probably they should have taken it or they must have destroyed it. Just like Annamacharya Kirtanas were burnt. How can you destroy it when it is there in our brains? Like the Akshara Mushtika Kathana and the Dharana Matrika help us to retain so many things. The Dharana Matrika's art. Desa Bhasha Jnana, the art of knowing provincial dialects. Nirmita Jnana or Nimitta Jnana, the art of knowing the prediction of the heavenly voice, good or bad omens, etc. This is called as a Sekuna Sastra. Probably we can think of the Sekuna Sastra, Swapna Sastra, so Balli Sastram, all these things, they predict so many things based on the movements, everything, or the sounds that they hear. We also say that when Duryodhana was born, the foxes were whistling, I believe. So by listening to certain sounds, they predict the future of that newborn baby also. So that is the Nimitta Jnana and Nirmita Jnana. Yantra Matrika, the art of mechanics. Matsyantra, you can see that, without even any kind of motorized skill, we find that, the fish was moving and, Arjuna could see into the water and hit the fish in order to marry the Draupadi. And what kind of a yantra that they have made during the Mahabharata time itself? Can you ever imagine, without a mechanized or motorized thing, they made that wheel to move around. Mlechita Kutarka Vikalpa, the art of fabricating barbarous or foreign sophistry. So this probably when people were entering into our country, our local people, they only helped the foreigners to enter into our country and, rule us. So for them, for the Mlechas, however, they tried to help them and, enter. All these things happened. Mlechita Kutarka Vikalpa, giving a totally different meaning to what they have said is another meaning to the Mlechita Kutarka Vikalpa. Samavachya, the art of conversation. So art of conversation, when we talk about from the Vedic literature, the Nyaya and the Mimamsa Sastras, Tarka Sastra, from the Vedanta perspective, we have Vada, Samvada, Jalpa, Vitanda. So different kinds of conversation. In order to draw the truth, in order to get the knowledge out of the conversation, one would employ these kind of techniques, which is called as Samavachya. We all know about the Vada and Samvada that Mandana Mishra and the Bhagavad Shankaracharya had in order to draw the truth, that the Brahman is only one, isn't it? So Manasi Kavya Kriya, the art of composing verse mentally. Manasi Kavya itself is the thinking of a particular idea and developing a poetry there and then itself and retaining it mentally. Kriya Vikalpa, the art of designing a literary work with an understanding of aesthetics, grammar and syntax, etc. is called as Kriya Vikalpa. Chalitaka Yoga, the art of disguise. So the art of disguise, we all know in Ramayana, in Uttar Ramayana, in the disguise, one of the soldiers goes to the washerman's area and the washerman talks nonsense about Sita Devi and Rama, and he comes and tells back to Rama with a great difficulty, isn't it? So the CIDs or the soldiers, the people used to go in disguise into the cities and try to gather the information about the kingdom, the ruling, the defects, the positives, everything, and they used to give back the information to the king or the commander-in-chief. Or if they suspect anybody, any new people have entered from some other places. So all these things, for all these purposes, the disguising oneself is very, very important. So the Chalitaka Yoga, the art of disguise, it's not like our Telugu film where you put a puttumacha here and they totally we cannot recognize the person. When you remove the puttumacha, we will recognize him. So it's not like that. So the Chalitaka Yoga is a beautiful art form where the total change, the total makeover is done for that individual, that it is very difficult for his own wife to recognize him that he is the person, right? So Abhidhana Kosha Chandogyana, the art of use of lexicography and the meters is called as Abhidhana Kosha Chandogyana. Vastragopana, the art of concealment of clothes is called as Vastragopana. Dyuta Vishesha, we all know it's a gambling, a specific knowledge, and Sekuni Mama is the best example for the Dyuta Vishesha Krida and the expertise in the Dyuta Vishesha. Akarsha Krida, art of playing with a dice or a magnet is called as Akarsha Krida. Balaka Kridanaka, the art of creating games for children with the help of for an overall development, stories, toys, gadgets and everything. We all know that Panchatantra is the best example for the stories and development. And of course, we have several games and toys where the individual's mental capabilities are enhanced by playing these kind of games like Chadarangam, where the more thought has to be put into the game and everything, right? And because there is logic is applied, and so much of thought process goes into the chess and several other games, isn't it? Vainayaki Vidya, the art of enforcing discipline, not only for people, but for also for the elephant, horses, camels, and etc., is called as Vainayaki Vidya, enforcing the discipline. Vijayaki Vidya is the art of gaining victory, tricks and steps for the success. Taking some of the steps or playing with some tricks, at the end of the game, one should win the game. So, understanding those smaller tips is called as Vijayaki Vidya. And finally, the Vaitaliki Vidya, art of awakening the master. These are called, and the people who are mastered in the Vaitaliki Vidya, they are called as Vaitalikas. And they are also, when they prize in public, they are called as Bhatrajulu, those who praise the king or lord. To conclude the Vaitaliki Vidya on a lighter note, in Mutyala Muggu cinema, he employs some of the orchestra people. So whenever people come and appreciate Rao Gopal Rao, so these people used to play the orchestration so that, bhajantrili. So, and the people who praise unnecessarily or in favor of or in want of something, so we call them as Bhatrajulu or, Vaitalikulu, Bhajantrilu has become a synonym for Vaitaliki Vidya. So these are the 64 kalas, although I've said it in a superficial mode because of the time constraint. It's already 7:52, I was running. So these are the 64 kalas, and yeah. With this, I conclude my today's lecture, and if you have any questions, please.
Thank you very much, madam. An excellent lecture.
Yeah, thank you.
64 colors, it is not a small topic, but you covered all the topics of 64 colors in this limited time. Thank you very much,
because
madam.
there is a lot more to include, so many things in it. Just even to Suchivaya Vidya, not only the crochet, we have several other techniques to add upon, and how to do each and everything, what are the kinds of needles that we have. So each and everything has got so much of information. I would like to share all those things, but unfortunately time is the main constraint. The Gita Vidya, I think most of the Vidyas, you are all aware, based on the Kavitvam, Sahityam and other things. So I thought, okay, let me just superficially say, touch all the items so that.
If we got any time to share
Madhuparka,
about
you have, sorry, Madhuparka, you have categorized under Paniyam, and is it exactly made up of what?
Madhuparkam is made up of curds and honey, ma. So usually we understand that Madhuparkam is the white saree with the red border. Yeah, Vastra. But Madhuparkam is the thing that what we eat. So usually it gives us an instant energy. So Madhuparkam is offered curd and honey. When you mix both of them, that is called as actual Madhuparkam.
Okay,
that gives the instant energy. So in this summer, you may try with your family members for an instant energy Madhuparka.
Should it be a spoonful or a tumblerful?
Full, cupful.
Cupful, okay.
Yeah, you put it in the fridge and give it as a dessert.
Yes,
you can add condiments also, dry fruits, whatever you want.
నమస్తే అండి, ప్రమోదిని, ధన్యవాదాలు. ఎక్సలెంట్ లెక్చర్ లైక్ యెస్టర్డే. ఒక్కటి చిన్నటి గుర్తొచ్చింది, చాలా విషయాలు గుర్తొచ్చాయి. ఐ విల్ జస్ట్ సే వన్ థింగ్. శ్లోకంలో సూర్యుడిలో ఉంటుంది కదా, కేయూరవాన్ మకర కుండలవాన్ కిరీటి అని వస్తుంది కదా, అదే గుర్తొచ్చింది. అలాగే మన విష్ణు సహస్రనామాలు అంటే అందరి అమ్మవారిని సౌందర్య లహరిలో అన్ని ఇట్లా మొత్తము వివరణగా ఉంటుంది కదా, వివరంగా ఏమేమి కుండలాలు ఎలాంటి ఆభరణాలు వేసుకున్నారు అవన్నీ, అదే గుర్తొచ్చిందండి. ధన్యవాదాలు, అద్భుతంగా చెప్పారు. ఇంత తక్కువ టైంలో అయినా కూడా
మొదటి 20-30 అన్ని కూడా అమ్మవారి ఆభరణాలే కదా. తారాకాంతి తిరస్కారి నాసాభరణ భాసుర, తారల కాంతిని వెదజల్లేటువంటి ముక్కుబరక పెట్టుకున్నది అటువంటిది అమ్మవారు అని చెప్పి అన్ని కూడా అవే వస్తాయి కదా.
ఇది శివానంద లహరిలో ఆల్సో సేమ్ థింగ్ తాటక అది అంటే తన కుండలాలతో శివుడి తాగిన గరళ కంఠుడిని అక్కడ విషం ఆపేసింది గొంతు అని చెప్తారు.
తాటంక యుగడీభూత తపనోదకమండల.
అవునవును, అదే చాలా
తాటంకాలు అంటే తాటాకుతో చేసినటువంటిది. మనం పత్రం అనుకున్నాం కదండి. సో తాటాకు పత్ర. సో తాటంకం ఇస్ ద బెస్ట్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఫర్ పత్రం. పత్ర కుండలాలు తాళపత్రమే కదా, పత్రం ఇస్ తాళపత్రం. మందార పత్రాలు పెట్టుకున్నటువంటి దాఖలాలు ఉన్నాయి. అలా రకరకాలైనటువంటి. సో ది షేప్ ఆఫ్ ది ఇయర్ రింగ్స్, దిస్ ఇస్ లైక్ చక్ర కుండల, రైట్? స్పియర్ షేప్, రౌండ్ వన్, సర్కిల్ వన్. So it's in the leaf shape, in the floral shape. We have different designs kada. Animal shapes. Ivala makara kundalalu, meena kundalalu. For Pandurangamurti, you can see the meena kundalalu. The fish will be hanging for the Pandurangamurti. You can see the image on Google. Pandurangamurti is having meena kundalalu.
అదే సూర్యుడు మకర కుండల. అలాగే అమ్మవారు కూడా రెండు, సూర్య చంద్ర, అటు ఇటు.
Surya Chandra, exactly. And when you look at Ardhanarishwara Tattva, here you will see a Chakra Kundala and here you will see a Pushpa Kundala. So to show the male and female thing.
ధన్యవాదాలు, అద్భుతంగా చెప్పారు తక్కువ సమయంలో అయినా.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Ma'am, are Shodashi colors included in 64 colors? If yes, like which 16 colors are there, ma'am, in 64 colors?
No, that 16 colors are different from the 64 colors only. They are different and these are different. Shodashi Kala ante you are talking about Sri Vidya and understanding
yes.
the Meru, right? No. They are different and these are different.
Oh, okay. Right. Thanks.
One quick question అమ్మ, చంద్ర కళలు అది 16 కదా, షోడశ కళలు ఇవి అది ఎలాగా?
So Shodasa Kalalu, normally what I try to explain you is when we say that Kala is meant for time measure and for the Amarakosa meaning also says that it's a fraction of time, fraction of a moon and everything. Then I try to explain you from Padyami to Amavasya or Padyami to Paurnami, the 16 days, the growth of Kala is called as Chandra Kala. In that sense, to measure the time and the growth of the moon, I mentioned in that way. But Chandra Kalas are again different and Sri Vidya Shodasa Kalas are different. So everything we have Vidyas and Kalas. So Vidyas are different and Kalas are different. Though both the Vidyas and Kalas give us knowledge, both are different.
Okay, amma ధన్యవాదాలు.
Thank you.
Madam, there are no doubts, I think, in the chat box, so that topic is totally cleared, very clearly.
Small doubt, Leela madam. I have a small doubt.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
Ma'am, do we have to actually learn first music before learning dance? Is it a primary requirement for a dancer to learn music? And the same, if at all, if she is a musician or one who is learning music.
So, last time when we had the session on Natya Shastra, then I explained the story from Vishnu Dharmottara Purana. In the Tritiya Khanda of Vishnu Dharmottara Purana, there was a dialogue between King Vajra and sage Markandeya. So Vajra asks Markandeya to teach him the art of image making because he wanted to have an image to worship at his home, at his palace. So he wanted to learn the idol worshipping, idol making art form. Then Markandeya says, I'm ready to teach you the idol making thing, but before learning the idol making or the iconography skill, you must learn dance because you need to understand the position of each and every hand, leg, eye movement and everything. I tell you a simple thing, why you need to learn dance. This is called as Pataka Hasta in dance. And the usage of this Pataka Hasta is Abhaya. So when I say Abhaya Murti, for Rama Abhaya Murti, I say that, Rama's right hand should be Abhaya. Then you might place this here, right? So abhaya, we only understand placing the hand in front of our chest, giving abhaya. But the angle of this hand should be properly understood by you. If I place it here, this becomes abhaya. The same thing, just a 10 degrees difference. If I turn this like this, I myself is going to hurt you. So from that of abhaya, this becomes bhaya. So the 10 degrees difference itself makes a lot of difference. మనం ఇందాక ధ్వనిలో ఎలా అయితే అనుకున్నామో the ధ్వని makes all the difference, the angle. So in order to understand the position of each and every hand, the eye movement, eyeball movement, last time also I explained this. When I look at like this is like a sama, like with a prema and everything. If I put down my eyes like this, that becomes a Raudra Murti. Even the slightest difference in my eyeball movement makes a lot of difference in the rasa itself. For a Sringaramurti, I cannot place the Raudra eyes, isn't it? The position, how na kallunnave inta andulo malla eyeball movement lani 0.0001 difference tote, when there is so much of difference in the rasa expression, unless you understand these nuances, it is very difficult for you to prepare an idol. So he is much convinced and said, okay, teach me the art of dancing, then I will learn the iconography. He says, wait there. In order to learn the dance properly, you must get used to the orchestration. Unless you play in a rhythmic pattern, unless you are thorough with the musical instrumentation, you cannot learn dance. Vajra says, fine. Then Markandeya says, wait a minute. Not only instrumentation, but before that you must learn music. Unless you know the song, how would you even express that? రారా అంటున్నాడా పోరా అంటున్నాడా ఎలా అంటున్నాడు నీకు తెలియాలంటే సంగీతం తెలియాలి కదా, అందులో ఉన్న భావం తెలియాలి, గమకం తెలియాలి, గాత్రంలో పలికేటువంటి ఫీలింగ్ నీ కళ్ళల్లోకి రావాలి అంటే యూ మస్ట్ అండర్స్టాండ్ ది musicology. Then he says, fine, teach me the music, then the instrumentation, then the dance, then the image making. Markandeya says, wait a minute, you are ready to learn the musicology, singing, the voice culture and everything. But unless you are not familiarized with the Sahitya, how would you know that in which rasa the Sahitya is in? Isn't it? So there are different techniques for that Sahitya also. So to learn the Sahitya, first you must learn the Sahitya. He says, okay, right, teach me the Sahitya. But before learning the Sahitya, you must get acquainted with the Bhasha first of all. What are the vowels? What are the consonant? Achulenti, hallulenti, dvitvalenti, parushalenti, dantyalenti, oshtalenti. Without having any knowledge of all these things, how would you even pronounce them? How would you even get used to the Sahitya? Without knowing the Sahitya, how would you sing? Without knowing the meaning of it, how would you even enact Abhinaya? How would you enact a Nayika without knowing the Manasika Sthiti of that particular Nayika? So, these are all interrelated. They develop together, interpenetrated. You cannot separate them. Unless we have a proper understanding of so many things. ఒక్కొక్క మాటకి దానికి ఎన్ని రకాలైనటువంటి మల్టిపుల్ లేయర్స్ ఆఫ్ మీనింగ్స్ ఉంటాయి మనకి. మల్టిపుల్ లేయర్స్ ఆఫ్ మీనింగ్స్ ఉన్నప్పుడు దాన్ని మనం అది నర్తించేటువంటిది ఎవరు? ఉత్తమ నాయక, మధ్యమ నాయక, అధమ నాయక, సామాన్య నాయక, వేశ్య, ఎవరు చేసేది? దానిని బట్టి కదా మనం భావం ప్రకటించాలి. వేశ్య నర్తనం ఎలా ఉంటుంది? స్వీయ నాయిక అయితే పవిత్రమైనటువంటి ఇంటి ఇల్లాలు చేశాను. మంచి దినము నేడే మహారాజులాగా రమ్మనవే, భర్తకి కబురు పెట్టింది. మంచి దినము నేడే మహారాజులాగా రమ్మనవే, చక్కగా చెప్పింది. అదే వేసి అనుకోండి, మంచి దినము నేడే మహారాజు, ఎందుకు తొంగి తొంగి చూసి వస్తున్నాడు, దర్జాగా రమ్మను నా ఇంటికి వచ్చేవాడు ఎలా ఉండాలి? అదే పాట, ఈవిడ భావం. మహారాజులాగా రమ్మనవే. ఆ భావం ఎలా ఉంది, ఈ మాటదే, పాటదే నాయకు యొక్క లక్షణం. సో దీనికి అలంకార శాస్త్రం కూడా నేర్చుకోవాలి. అలంకార శాస్త్రం సాహిత్యంలో వచ్చేస్తుంది కదా. సో unless we understand all these nuances, it is not that easy to compose or choreograph a piece of song. And any song, any javali, any kshetrapadam, any ashtapadi, unless you involve into that madhura bhakti, you would not do justice to your abhinaya. సత్యభామ అయితే ఒకలాగా చేయాలి, రుక్మిణి అయితే ఒకలాగా చేయాలి. ఎందుకు? ఆవిడ రాజసం, ఈవిడ సాత్వికం. రానంటాడటే మంచిది రాకుంటే రానే వద్దనవే. కృష్ణుడు రానంటే సత్యభామ చెప్పేటువంటి తీరది. రానంటాడా, నేనే వద్దన్నాను, రావద్దని చెప్పు. రుక్మిణి అయితే సాత్వికం. రానంటాడటే మంచిది రాకుంటే, ఈవిడ బాధపడుతుంది. ఆవిడకి బాధ లేదు, అహంకారం కదా, సౌందర్య గర్విత. సో తత్వాన్ని అర్థం చేసుకొని మనం అభినయం చేయాల్సి ఉంటుంది. అలాగే సంగీతం, దానికి తగ్గట్టుగా స్వరంలో మార్పులు, దానికి తగ్గట్టుగా ఇంటోనేషన్. మనం మాట్లాడుకున్నాం కదా ఇందాకంతా, ఎక్కడ పాజ్ ఇవ్వాలి, ఎక్కడ నొక్కి పలకాలి, ఎక్కడ గాద్గదికంగా రావాలి, ఎక్కడ సున్నితంగా రావాలి, ఎక్కడ ఖచ్చితంగా రావాలి. ఎవడే వాడు, ఎవడే వాడు, వాడెవడని అడగాలి. ఎవడే వాడు, వాడెవడు ఇంటి ముందు తిరుగుతున్నాడు. అదే మనకి క్యూరియాసిటీ ఉందనుకోండి, కన్య, ఎవడే వాడు, ఇంట్రెస్ట్ ఉంది. ఇంట్రెస్ట్ లేదు, ఎవడే వాడు, ఎందుకు మన ఇంటి ముందు తిరుగుతున్నాడు వాడు. ఇంట్రెస్ట్ ఉంటే ఒకలాగా చూస్తాం, ఇంట్రెస్ట్ లేకపోతే ఒకలాగా చూస్తాం కదా. అది కోపమా, తాపమా, అది ధ్వనిలో రావాలి, అభినయంలో రావాలి కదా. అట్లా ఇది అప్లికబుల్ ప్రతిదానికి. మనం బాగున్నారండి అంటే ఎందుకు బాగున్నామండి అనేవాళ్ళు ఉంటారు, అయ్యో అయ్యో బాగున్నామండి థ్యాంక్ యూ అనేవాళ్ళు ఉంటారు కదా. అది అందుకే అన్నాను, రిసీవ్ చేసుకునేవాడు సహృదయుడై ఉంటేనే తప్ప మనం చెప్పేటువంటిది కరెక్ట్గా రిసీవ్ చేసుకునే వాళ్ళ దగ్గరే మనం ప్రదర్శించాలి సభ. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్, ఇఫ్ సత్యభామ ఈజ్ ఎనాక్టింగ్, ఎందుబోతివి ఎందుబోతివి ఎందుబోతివిరా కృష్ణ, సత్యభామ ఈజ్ సర్చింగ్ ఫర్ కృష్ణ. మనకి భాగవతంలో కూడా మీ పొదల మాటన లేడు కదమ్మా అని చెప్పి గోపికలందరూ వెతుకుతున్నట్టుగా ఉంటుంది. సో ఇఫ్ యూ నో దట్ పర్టికులర్ సీన్ ఆన్ ఎ స్టేజ్, వెన్ యూ హ్యావ్ హండ్రెడ్స్ ఆఫ్ పీపుల్ వాచింగ్ దాట్, 16 ఏళ్ల పిల్లలు ఉన్నారనుకోండి, హూ ఈజ్ ఇన్ లవ్ విత్ సంబడి ఎల్స్, హీ వుడ్ ఆల్సో, అమ్మ నేను కూడా అప్పుడు పార్క్లో వెయిట్ చేశాను, హీ డిడ్ంట్ టర్న్ అప్, ఈవెన్ ఐ వాజ్ సర్చింగ్ ఫర్ హిమ్. దే గెట్ కనెక్టెడ్ టు దాట్. భర్త దూర ప్రయాణం మీద వేరే ఊరు వెళ్ళినటువంటి 40 ఏళ్ల స్త్రీ, ప్రౌఢ అయినటువంటి స్త్రీ, షీ వుడ్ కనెక్ట్ విత్ దట్ సీన్ అండ్ షీ వుడ్ థింక్ ఆఫ్ హర్ ఓన్ హస్బెండ్. హ్యాడ్ ఇట్ బీన్ ఆర్ హ్యాస్ హీ బీన్ ది డివోటీ ఆఫ్ ఇస్కాన్సన్, ఒక భక్తుడు, ఒక భక్తురాలు భగవంతుణ్ణి దర్శించడానికి పడేటువంటి తాపత్రయాన్ని ఇస్కాన్ భక్తుడు చూస్తాడు. ఒకటే కాన్సెప్ట్. కుర్రకారు ఉన్నారు, అరే కనపడట్లేదురా మనం రమ్మంటుందేమో అడుగు అంటాడు. సభా ప్రోగ్రాంకిను పండితులకి పామరులకి ఉన్నటువంటిది, అందులో ఉన్నటువంటి రసం వీళ్ళకి అర్థం కాదు. అన్ని రకాల వాళ్ళు ఉంటారు. సమన్వయపరుచుకుంటూ వాళ్ళని కూడా మచ్చిక చేసుకుంటూ మనం ప్రదర్శించగలిగినటువంటి నాడు, అంటే మన యొక్క తత్వాన్ని మనం ఎప్పుడైతే నిన్న మనం చెప్పుకున్నట్లుగా unless you involve into the character and you become the character and you perform, you should able to grab the attention of the audience.
Integration of all arts should be there, then only.
Exactly.
Very well explained, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam. With your permission, we will go to session ending prarthana.
Sure. Sure.
Madam Vasundhara, madam.
स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महीं महिषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितो ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः अपुत्राः पुत्रिणः सन्तु पौत्रिणः अथनाः सधनाः सन्तु जीवन्तु शरदां शतम् सत्यं वद धर्मं चर स्वाध्यायान् मा प्रमदः सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः सर्वे जनाः सुखिनो भवन्तु स्वस्ति
सर्वे जनाः सुखिनो भवन्तु धन्यवाद महोदय
Thank you.
now जनगणमन जनगणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल वंग
विंध्याचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधितरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे
तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे
तव जय गाथा
जनगण
मंगलदायक
जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे जय हिंद सर बाबू सर shall we close it?
Yeah, please. ధన్యవాదములండి సుమిత్ర గారు. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.